Like me, have you ever thought about if upcycling is a political act? Fashion is inherently a political act, but is the act of upcycling fashion that we already own also political? Whilst I talk about whether upcycling is a political act, I'm also going to be upcycling a tie for you, and I videoed the whole process. So now this version of Lottie is going in the corner and you are going to see my hands upcycling a tie. This tie in particular was given to me by a friend. He is an older gentleman. He is one of my favorite people that I work with in an office, and he gave me ties from when he was on television in his younger years in the 80s and 70s. I'm trying to find a purpose for all of these ties, but this one particular tie, because he was on TV, has a tiny makeup stain. And I'm doing the dyke tie for myself, and then I'm doing the leather version that I'm drawing up now for a friend of mine who's also coming to the event, and I don't want her to miss out on a tie because it's also her birthday. So I'm gonna make her a tie as well as a gift so we can have matching queer upcycled ties. And it really got me thinking as to whether upcycling is a political act, as I know and I talk a lot about fashion being inherently a political statement. Let's start with the definition. So upcycling is defined as repurposing of discarded objects or materials into useful items which may have higher quality or value than the original. That is Bridgens et al. 2018 and Wilson 2016. Upcycling for queer people, in my own experience, has become really popular. So there's been a lot of upcycling of tie events in London. So, Upcycling Agency, Material and Human Transformations for Sustainability in Fashion 2024. The authors in this research paper argue that upcycling is not just a technical waste management practice, but a different way of relating to materials consumption and value. They frame upcycling as a challenge to dominate fashion consumption patterns and discuss how sustainable fashion practices involve ethical decision-making and everyday forms of agency. So basically they're saying that upcycling isn't just keeping fabrics out of landfill, it's rejecting the idea that a clothes value comes from it being new, which I really relate to. I think in society we often uphold clothes that are new at a higher standard than secondhand or upcycled goods is just as valuable as that of a garment that is brand new. I came across when I was researching deeper the difference between degrowth and the circular economy. So circular economy you might have heard of before. I still will explain to you what that term is, just in case anyone hasn't heard of it. Degrowth economy is a term that I've heard, but I wanted to make sure I was very equipped and informed. So I've done a bit of research into exactly what that theory is. So, circular economy is upcycling as a clever waste solution, whereas degrowth framing is upcycling in a way of refusing overproduction and overconsumption. The circular economy is basically saying that we can create new things and there can be new things in existence, whereas the degrowth framing is talking to the fact that we don't actually need new garments. I think the main difference, to make it a bit easier to understand, is degrowth is talking about reducing the overall production. It's challenging capitalism and growth, and less is being seen more as a priority. It's a political and structural change compared to circular economy, which is a technical design solution. So for degrowth framing, consumption, there's loads of big words in this. I am a girl that can do massive big words and I love reading them, but when it comes to saying them, sometimes I get a bit stage fright, my dyslexia goes. A bit worried, but we will power through and I'll make sure it makes sense, and I will add anything in extra in a little notebooks if there's anything that I've missed out, but there won't be. We hope. So consumption reduction is central to degrowth framing. Whereas for the circular economy, we are still maintaining production, we're reducing waste, and it works within capitalism. I think this is really interesting to talk about when we're talking about whether upcycling is political, because it depends on what political framing you are still wanting to exist within. Are you wanting to upcycle within the capitalist hierarchy of consumption, or do you want to be using and leaning towards the degrowth framing model? We exist within capitalism, and I have an iPhone and I have a corporate job and I need money to exist and live my life, and I find it hard to exist and move away from capitalism as an ideal just because I get so many benefits from the fact that there is capitalism. So I would say upcycling for me is more of existing within capitalism but making with my own acts and how I am as a person, small political acts against the capitalist system that is benefiting. But the degrowth model, if there was a political and structural change, then I would definitely see a benefit to it. I just don't think, for me personally as a consumer, I can fully reject the capitalist restraints that we exist in. She's got a sociology A level and she's not afraid to use it. So right now in the tie, I think I've just finished, I finished cutting out for sure. I'm looking at the tie and I'm thinking what stages I did. I'm adding the grommet holes, and I just wanted to say, when I was adding the grommet holes, oh my gosh, this was so hard. I got this grommet machine for £12 on Vinted because I've wanted my own grommet machine. I keep going to upcycling events and they have a grommet piercer, and I'm so gel. It is so hard. I should have created holes prior. I end up like trying to pull out the stuff. It's looking sick in my hands and it's looking great, but it was so annoying. Also, I didn't include the clip of me sewing the letters on because I sat and watched TV. I was watching The Office, which that's a whole nother conversation about promoting capitalism, isn't it, in an office workplace. We don't have time to get into that. But I was watching The Office whilst I sewed on the letters and I wasn't able to film because it was very dark. But it's looking great. So now I'm probably adding the grommet holes, which took me so long. And I'm also probably making choices about what the sewing is going to happen, but I can talk through that after I've spoken through something I really want to speak about, which is one of my favorite theories that I found whilst I was researching. So the fact that there's worker exploitation and increased rhythm and demand in order to participate in consumption, that's known very widely. That's Cray 2013. I think what Cray also featured in this publication that I really wanted to focus and hone in on and speak to is the fact that in repairing and upcycling, we're pushing back against a system built around disposability. Choosing to extend the life of an object is a form of everyday activism. Choosing to extend the life of an object is a form of everyday activism, and it's you saying, no, I'm not disposing of it actually. I see worth in this material or worth in this garment and I want to use it. I also wanted to lightly touch on another theory that I discovered. When I get excited about theories, I speak really fast, so water break. People often frame upcycling as a hobby. I think a lot of women's activities are framed as hobbies, but they're not hobbies, they're an art skill. And I think this can be seen through embroidery and tapestry. They're often framed as women's cute little hobbies. They're not art. And I find with crochet, people often talk to me about how it's a hobby and how relaxing it is, which it isn't relaxing for me, and I find it like a really lovely hobby, but it's also a form of art. Like the pieces that I create with my crochet skills are pieces of art that represent me. I don't just create something that's seen on a like how to craft this. I freeform crochet, but that's still not valued as highly as something that is more artistic. So that applies, I think, to upcycling being seen as a hobby, and it's not really being seen as a response to environmental and consumption crisis that we are currently in. So I just wanted to touch on that with your upcycling and your repairs and your mending, we are actually going against the system, and we are creating our own little political acts and ensuring that the clothes that we consume are loved and used way more than they are intended to be by fast fashion corporations. I'm looking at the tie in front of me. The pearls, so if you didn't know, pearls are a sign of Gemini. It's Gemini season. That's when my birthday is, and that's when I'll be wearing this tie. I got these gems off an old pair of flip-flops that I bought off Vinted for £2, but because they were so old, my mum tried to wear them and they snapped, which was such a shame, but I took all of the beads off it and I'm using them in upcycling projects. The small ladybugs, I got them from an independent seller on Etsy. I was going to use them for another project and I probably still will. You'll see I've got quite a few of them, but I have an obsession with ladybugs and I couldn't find any secondhand ladybug buttons, and I just think they really represent me as a person. They are so useful to the ecological system, but you don't really notice them, and they're red and black, and I thank ladybugs because they are so great at getting rid of pests, and I'm getting a bit gushy over ladybugs, but I just think ladybugs are icons. These smaller beads that I've got on it, I thought they were really cute because they kind of represent the whole flag, and I wanted to make use of beads that I've owned for I think I've had these beads since I was 14. They came in this random beading kit. I then, with the grommet and the silver, I didn't speak through that, but the silver is an old top that I had and got it on Vinted again. And it came and I felt like a sausage in it, but I loved the material. So I was like, I felt like a metallic blanket sausage because it was so very tight. It was uncomfortable to wear. And it was like fast fashion. I think it was a top from Pretty Little Thing. And I just knew nobody I knew would love it, but I loved the material and I want to use that metallic in loads of crafting projects. So the ribbons on the sides I took apart and I've used that as a little tie down the side of the tie. And then, oh, actually I can show you now. And then the lighting, still not great. I could not get a great video of this. I've put it on my kitchen counter, so hopefully you'll be able to see. I don't know why the metallic's just interacting badly with it, but oh, that's a bit better. You can see the light stain that this one had, but you really can't when there's not a harsh light on it. These are it up close. I'm really happy. I'm going to style this with a waistcoat and just the tie probably. I am excited to wear something that I have crafted and upcycled. I think that for me, how do I word this? For me, I find upcycling a real joy and I get really obsessed with crafting and creating, and it's a really great form of escapism. I know that's not the same for everyone, and if you are unable to upcycle or you don't enjoy crafting, that's okay. You don't have to do crafting and upcycling to be a political act, but I would definitely recommend taking a course or going to an event that will teach you how to repair and mend, because that is one of the most useful skills to ensure that my clothes last so long, and also a small political act that is quite accessible for most people to do. If you haven't guessed, I definitely think upcycling is a political act, much like I think fashion is a political act, and what we choose to wear and what we feel comfortable wearing is inherently political. I would love to know your thoughts on whether you think upcycling is a political act, and if there's any theories or thoughts or anything from this video you want me to do another video on and go further into, do let me know in the comments. If there's a particular video idea that you're like, Lottie, I want you to talk about this, I don't get it, chat me through it, I would be so happy to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube, and I also post loads on Instagram and TikTok, so you can find me on there. I'll see you very soon.